Howdy folks, Spencer here, and today I want to talk about yet another Muds bundle that is coming out of nowhere. This is the Lost in the Delta Quadrant Muds pack, and it has some ships in it that I suspect are going to be fairly popular. So let's just take a look at the ships that are being offered that you can choose from this Muds pack. The first and the big one is the Vaadwaur Juggernaut. The Vaadwaur Juggernaut is the undisputed king of energy weapon DPS potential in normal and advanced content. In Elite, it starts to become more questionable with ships like the Delkina being around and having access to all emergency artillery in those Elite environments. But for most people, all they ever do is normal and advanced, and the Vaadwaur Juggernaut is as good as you're going to get. The issue is that it's very sluggish ship to move, and not many people can handle it. Then we have the Crenum Imperium warship. For a couple months or maybe a year, several years back, this was the ship to have, but it has fallen quite out of, popularity. You rarely see these things around nowadays. A lot of people have them from back in the day. It's a good ship. It's just not as good as it once was. Especially, I think there are C-store ships that are probably better than it nowadays. The Undine Kiwavi is a ship that I think many people are not too familiar with, but it is actually one of the better tanking platforms in the very high-end environments. And I need to emphasize that the high-end, when I'm talking about the high-end, I'm talking about record-setting environments, and that is at most a couple dozen people in the game that even attempt to do things at that level. So it's a very good platform at a high performance level, but there are other ships out there, Fleet Malakowski, that you can set up as a tank with Commander Command. You have C-store options that are very viable for tanking that are going to work just as well, if not better, in normal or advanced content. And then you have the Hazari Destroyer. This is a ship that you don't see used that often because the stats on it were never that good. Both it and the Kiwavi are Lobby ships, and the Hazari was, I believe, one of the first tier 6, if not the first tier 6 Lobby ship. So the stats on it are not really that great compared to the more modern offerings. And if you don't want to ship, your other options are you get a 2-pack of T6 ship coupons, 50 master keys, 300 low-buy crystals, or 10 gold tech upgrades. If any of you choose the lobby crystals over master keys, you're an idiot, because opening 50 master keys is going to get you pretty damn close to 300 lobby, alongside having all of the items that you're going to get opening the keys. And the last option is 10 gold tech upgrades. And if you want to select multiple of these bottom choices, like with most of the previous Muds bundles, you can do that. My recommendations, if you're buying this bundle, the Vaadwaur Juggernaut, it definitely is the main reason I'd say to look at this bundle. The Kiwavi is nice to have if you're a high-end player, but that's a very niche use case. It's used because it's a tank that can do cold-hearted without aux to bat because it's got pilot seating on it. So that's why it's used, and it moves fast for those high-end runs. But as I said, the people doing those high-end runs already have this ship, probably on multiple characters, so I don't think that's going to be very popular to most people. For the last option, it's honestly hard to say. I mean, the Crenum Imperium is a lockbox ship, but it's not really that great anymore. I think this is the first time I'd say, you grab at least the Vaadwaur Juggernaut, maybe grab the Kiwavi, and then you're definitely, for your third option, most likely going to grab like the T6 coupons. I'd probably say just grab the T6 coupons. That'd be my recommendation. Now let's take a look at the ships themselves. The Vaadwaur Juggernaut is a beast of a ship. I actually have a review of it from when it came out, and I'll make sure to have that link down below. To be honest, if you're buying this pack, you're buying it for the Vaadwaur Juggernaut. It is a promo ship. It is, as I said, the king of energy weapon DPS performance in normal and advanced content. And it's just a beast of a ship. It's the only issue with it is it's a bit hard to fly, but if you can master flying it, the performance you're going to get out of it is just insane. It's got a Commander TAC with Miracle Worker, Lieutenant Commander TAC with Intel, Lieutenant Commander Engineering, Lieutenant Science, and then Ensign Universal. It is a 5/3 with 5 TAC consoles, 4 Engineering, 2 Science, and 1 Universal. And with the Tier 6X, that obviously goes up to 2 Universals, meaning that this is a ship that can have 7 TAC consoles on it. It also has a built-in Juggernaut array that does pull-around damage, and the trait from it is Weapon Emitter Overdrive. This trait's also pretty popular for some people. When you use a beam or cannon bridge officer ability, it's increasing the amount of power drained by your weapons by 50%, but in exchange, it's giving you 10% crit chance and 50 accuracy. To many people, this trade-off is worth it. I don't think this trait is a meta pick anymore, but it's a very solid trait, and having it unlocked account-wide is pretty handy for alts, I would say. The console off of the ship is limited to the ship from what I remember. It's not that great, so I'm not really going to talk about it a ton. But if you have the other Vaadwaur ships, then it's a pretty fun console to use with the other consoles in the Vaadwaur artillery set, because there's this Polaron cannon barrage that you can shoot out. That is that Vaadwaur barrage that they usually shoot out that people get killed by. So it's pretty fun, but the console off of the Vaadwaur Juggernaut by itself will not enable that. You need the consoles off of the other Vaadwaur ships to do that. Overall, it's a very good ship. If you're buying this bundle, you're honestly just buying it for the Vaadwaur Juggernaut. Next up, we've got the Krenim Imperium. This has a Commander TAC with no specialization, a Lieutenant TAC with Intel, an Ensign Engineer, Lieutenant Commander Science, and Lieutenant Commander Universal with Pilot. So, we just had the 12th anniversary bundle come out that had ships in the C-Store that have a commander of one specialization and a lieutenant of a different specialization. So this should show that this ship, which is a lockbox ship, is fairly dated. It's not a bad ship. It just it's been power crept out of the meta essentially. It's a very capable platform, but it's not what it once was. If you want this ship, it'll get the job done, but I think there are better options out there nowadays. For Intel and Pilot seating, I don't have an alternative recommendation off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure you can find something in the C-Store that would be a better performer than this. The trade-off of this... Oh yeah, the trade-off of the Krenim Imperium gives you a damage boost for not hitting bridge officer abilities. This was a bit of a meme back in the day because this is ultimately one of the worst traits in the game, because it's rewarding you for doing something that you should never be doing. You should always be hitting your bridge officer abilities, and this is a trait that is rewarding you for being, just for being a bad player, essentially, because if you're not hitting your bridge officer abilities, you are massively crippling your damage output. So this trait is really not good. And the console off this ship, I don't recall this being good, and when I look at it, it's like a debuff that you mark on a target that just debuffs their speed, defense, and their energy damage resistance rating. So not a console that I would really suggest you use. Next up, we have the Kiwavi. This is a ship that has seen quite a bit of use in high-end runs because of the pilot seating it has on it. Commander Command is basically required for any high-end tanks nowadays, and setting up a tank at a high level that isn't on a ship with Commander Command to take advantage of Suppression Barrage 3 is, in my opinion, effectively trolling. You are immediately making a bad tank the minute you don't have Suppression Barrage on it. And I know that sucks to say, and it locks out a lot of, ships, but that is Suppression Barrage 3 is just that powerful. Suppression Barrage 3 just straight up cuts your enemy's damage output in half, and as a tank, you're never going to have all the threat, but you having the ability to reduce the damage that the opponents you're hitting are doing to your teammates is still extremely beneficial. So, ships like this that have Commander Command are the meta options for tanking. This is a 4/4 ship with a Lieutenant Commander TAC, Commander Engineer with Command, Lieutenant Commander Science, and then a Lieutenant Commander Universal with Pilot. It is one of a few ships in the game that only has 4 bridge officer seatings on it, so some people may not like it for that. But I still think that the ship is a very capable platform. You can run cold-hearted on it with the pilot abilities, meaning you don't have to run Aux to Bat. It's just a really good ship for a high level of play. But as I've said, the high level of play, there's very few people playing at that performance level. So you shouldn't go out and buy something just because I'm saying, it's good at that performance level. There's the people that play at that performance level already know about the ship and have had multiple copies of it for the last several months. It is a good ship, just not one that I would recommend for everybody to have. The trade-off of it gives you some hull regen and damage resistance to you and all teammates within 10 kilometers when you hit auxiliary power to inertial dampeners or any commanded bridge officer ability. From what I recall, the buffs on this are very small and are just not worth running the trait for. The buffs it gives are very insignificant. The console off of this creates some fluidic rifts. So if you're a fan of the Undine fluidic rifts, you might be interested in this ship just for that ability, but it's nothing special. If you're getting this ship, you're getting it for the tanking option it provides. It's a very fast-moving ship. It's a 4/4 platform. But as I've said numerous times in the past, 4/4, 5/3 doesn't really matter. But, the performance difference, especially on a tank between a 5/3 and 4/4, is very minor because you're going to be running beam arrays. The last ship we have is the Hazari Destroyer. This was one of the first, actually, this was the first Tier 6 Lobby ship that was released after Delta Rising. And the stats very much show that. This is a 4/3 destroyer with an experimental weapon. It does not have a unique experimental weapon because when this ship released, experimental weapons did not exist. That was added afterwards. The ship has a commander TAC with no specialization, a lieutenant TAC with intel, lieutenant commander engineer, Lieutenant Commander Science, and an Ensign Universal. This ship has a single Lieutenant Specialization seat. There are many ships in the Sea Store that are going to outperform this ship. Something like the Adamant that just came out is going to be a much better ship than this. The Hazari Destroyer really has nothing going for it. The trait from it is fairly insignificant. It provides a small, up to 30% Cat 1 damage boost to you and your teammate, I believe, or you and the target of heals. It's just not a good ship. The console from it is not really that good. there's no reason for you to choose this ship unless you explicitly want the visual appearance of it. You like how it looks and you have to have it to fly it around. So to recap, if you're buying this bundle, you are literally buying it for the Vaadwaur Juggernaut to have that promo ship unlocked account wide. If I were buying this bundle, I'm not, but if I were, I would be getting the Vaadwaur Juggernaut, the Undine Kiwavi, or actually no, I wouldn't even get the Undine Kiwavi because I already have how many of the damn things. I would get the Vaadwaur Juggernaut and 4 T6 ship coupons because I would choose the T6 ship coupons twice. That's what my recommendation would probably be to people. I don't think the Crenum Imperium is worth much nowadays. The Hazari Destroyer was not really that great of a ship, even just a couple months after it was released back in like 2014. The Kiwavi is a good ship, but it has a very niche purpose, and like I said, there's barely anyone playing at that performance level, so I'm not going to recommend necessarily a platform that most of you may not even use. So hopefully this has been helpful. You know, this bundle is going to be 6,000 Zen, or sorry, 60,000 Zen if you want the entire 8-pack, 30,000 Zen if you just want to choose 3 options, and of course there's a 50% sale on all of it, so they'll be half that price during the initial release. Getting the Vaadwaur Juggernaut for $150 with 4 T6 ship coupons is probably a good deal if you are really wanting a Vaadwaur Juggernaut. The Vaadwaur Juggernaut for a single character, being a promo ship, is pretty much going to cost that right now. So if you're after a Juggernaut, you may as well buy this while it's on sale, and you'll have it unlocked account wide, and you'll have a bunch of T6 ship coupons. So hopefully this has been helpful. I hope you factor in that this is not one of the better Muds bundles. It's good if you want one ship, basically. But that is all for today. Thanks for stopping by. See you all next time.